But first,
the
greatest piece of technology that might just ruin your life.
Yes.
So
You're talking about this, the Apple Vision Pro.
Apple Vision Pro came out this week.
Have you guys heard about it?
Yeah.
Okay. So I wasn't
In
sure.
preparation for this show, but otherwise I had not.
Yeah, so it is all over Twitter. And so basically, if you don't know what the Apple Vision Pro is, it's Apple's version of all these different VR headsets, but it's like on the next level. Because Casey Neistat, which is like the OG daily vlogger on YouTube, said this is the greatest piece of technology that he's ever used.
Man.
So this is kind of a big deal.
And Tommy Profit, the guy that produces NF's music and does a lot of like commercials and stuff. Yeah, he's like, this is far and above any piece of technology he's ever used. He's like, this is it's just on another level. So
yeah, well, and what's crazy is it's definitely still in its infancy. So like all the things it can do right now are going to be super basic compared to the things it's going to be able to do in the future.
Kind of like the iPhone.
Yes, exactly. That's what it's.
So do you think people will not buy it because of that? Because even Casey said in his video, that's his name, right? Casey?
Yes.
Yeah, he said like, this is going to be the lowest level version of this, and it's $4,000.
I think that's going to be the reason a lot of people don't buy it is because it's $4,000 in typical Apple fashion.
Yeah.
Now, are there different levels of it? Because I know there's a $3,500 version. Are there different versions, or is it just all the?
Oh, that's weird.
I don't know. You would have to check the Apple website. So, but there, So I think that will probably be the thing. But I've been seeing a lot of things about it on Twitter because it's kind of crazy the things that it can do. So I wanted to show out with our new technology a couple different clips that I found on Twitter just to give you a kind of a glimpse of what it can do. So we'll just play a little bit.
Make it full screen, or
let's try it. We'll do it full screen.
We're trying this out.
We have the technology. So this guy, and then you can go ahead and play that.
Got the messages again. Got music set up here. Big screen TV set up on my wall.
What?
Gordon Ramsay showing me how to cook above the stove.
I need that.
What?
Notes right here for some groceries.
All right, you can pause that
Can
there.
walk around freely.
He just puts it in his house, though.
That's what it
Yeah.
looks like when it's on.
Okay.
So he puts it in his house, and so when he's wearing those, every time it shows up.
Yeah, so you can like pin things to the physical space, and you can make them the screens as big or as small as you want. But yeah, so they will actually stay there. So it's like you have this giant screen TV in your house.
That is insane.
I had not seen that part of it. I knew you
Yes.
could like pin it like right like where you were, but I didn't know you could put stuff in other parts of your house.
yeah.
and then walk around, and then it's like just there all the time.
Yes.
Oh man.
Yeah, let's go to the one of the next clips. See if there's. Oh, this is one of my favorite things. So they have these like virtual environments where you can do all of your work in. So this is like in the mountains, and it's got these little speakers that are directly pointed at your ear. So this guy was coding for like 3 hours in like this Arctic forest.
You
I feel
hear
like
the,
I'd be cold because I'd be like,
Your brain's
I'm just
tricking
sitting
you.
in the snow coding.
Yeah, but I mean that's so much more fun than just sitting in your office.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and you have these giant screens. You can make as many as you want. And then I think there was one more clip. But, I mean, this stuff, it's... Oh, and this is the
Wow.
one. There's something he says in a
As you
second.
can see here, I'm watching 33 different NBA games at the exact same time, just covering my entire wall. In case I'm not getting enough dopamine hits over here, I can look over here and I got X. I can scroll X and I can like
And then I
posts.
think
As you
his
see,
hand
it's very
is-
easy to scroll
His hand
X
is
on the Apple
virtual.
Vision
VR.
Pro. Over here, I'm looking at my different scores. I'm checking out how much
All
money
right,
I'm
you can
making
pause
off
it.
fantasy, off sports betting. So
Yeah,
Wow.
so you have like this giant hub all around you of
Unlimited.
different things that you can do. And there was another guy, he had 3 different screens of TikTok. So he's like, well, when I get bored with this one right here, I'll just look over here and scroll here and
No.
scroll here.
I feel like we're finally letting our brains go to that full capacity that we've never.
We're unlocking all of our
Yeah,
potential.
like,
and scrolling through TikTok. That's our full potential.
Yeah.
3 screens of TikTok.
no.
Yeah. So I watched the MXKB. I don't know.
MKBHD?
MKBHD. Marcus
Sorry,
Bromley.
Marcus.
Yeah. Sorry. Because he's done so like I didn't watch the unboxing, but I watched like this 30-minute thing of him just kind of walking through what it can do. And he's like, are there killer apps? And he said there's not really any killer apps yet, but it just does some things really well. Like FaceTime calls.
Yeah.
He said when you're making a FaceTime call, the position of the people matters. Like, so he like gave a peace sign to one person, but because of the angle he was at, the other person couldn't see it, even though he was like, I mean, they're looking at him.
Yeah.
And so he would do that to the other side. And so like based on the angle, and he said you can move people around, so you put them farther back and they don't sound as loud. And like
Whoa.
you can, yeah,
So you could do multiple people in multiple places. And so it's like we're actually all hanging out at this virtual reality coffee shop together, and
I think.
Yeah, I don't know if you can do that currently. I think that's the next
that's
step.
like the next step.
Well, and so that was kind of what, because we called this the greatest piece of technology that might just ruin your life.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think one of the questions that I have is where it could kind of ruin your life. Do you think it'll get to the point where this is almost a substitute for reality, to the point where people want to spend more time in that than their actual lives?
Well, that's what I was just, when the unlocking of the potential of being in the same room. I was like, my 3 best friends we're all long distance.
Yeah.
So we Marco Polo every day. But the potential of like, what if we could sit down at a coffee shop, like a virtual reality space, and
Yeah.
see each other face to face and be like, yeah, we all have a real cup of coffee in our hands, but and then just be like, oh, I'm hanging out with my friends all day.
Yeah.
But you're not really there.
So, and then thinking about the church world, you could technically be in the room with other people, seemingly, but not really be there. And so that happens all the time anyway.
Yeah, I was like, that's not anything new.
Yeah.
Like, so Casey was in Times Square.
Yeah.
And he was like astounded in like a overcome in like a joyful way, I guess, or like excited way. But I felt like one of the things he said that to me was like a red flag is he was like, I can't believe it. I'm in the middle of Times Square. Like everyone is around me. So many people are around me. And I'm just sitting here on this bench and like, I can work from here, or I can do whatever I want from here, which is cool. But if you think of what he's saying, it's like, I'm surrounded. I'm in like one of the most well-known places in the world, surrounded by people. And he's like not really mentally there. He's like watching a YouTube video and like scrolling through TikTok or whatever.
But how is that different than if I'm sitting on the bench on my phone? Because it's the same thing, right?
Yeah, but are you really going to do that when you're in Times Square? I mean, you could, I guess.
Well, I think it's a little bit different just because of how immersive it is, or how immersive it could be.
Yeah.
Because if I'm just looking at my phone, I'm still kind of aware of the things around me, and someone can easily get my attention. But this can be because he's watching a lot of just Mr. Beast videos and that. So he's like around all these different people, but very much focused and dialed in on only, because like when you're watching a video, it makes everything around it darker. So it kind of dulls the senses of everything around it. And then you have the audio going directly into your ear. So then you are like laser focusing on that rather than everything around you.
But I'm also understanding like when somebody starts talking, it kind of dims the other stuff and it focuses on them.
Yeah.
Even if you're in that virtual mountain world, if somebody peeks in, which I mean, if you're working for 2 hours and then somebody's face just appears,
Well,
Rushmore.
Can you imagine that? I can totally see this in a futuristic movie where it's like there's Times Square, but everyone has these glasses on. And so when you're looking at it from a reality standpoint, it's just kind of like quiet, or like people aren't interacting with each other, but they're all interacting. And so I can see it being like this. Oh, this is a really bizarre scenario that we're in.
You know what it sounds like? Wall-E.
No, it sounds like that specifically.
No.
That sounds like the those silent discos where
Yeah,
everyone's got headphones on.
It sounds more
They're
like
all-
a silent disco.
and they're dancing in a gym, but like you take them off and then you hear
Like,
nothing.
quiet, yeah.
And everyone's just being weird.
Yeah.
But on Wall-E, they're on that ship.
No, that's true.
And they're like, they all got their screens right in front of them and they don't pay attention. Like when Wall-E knocks that guy over, he finally sees that girl and they kind of make a connection. But before they were just all on their screens. You don't remember that?
Oh, yeah, I do.
Yeah, that was like a huge part of the movie. Like,
Yeah.
They finally like started realizing, like, oh, there's other people around me,
Right.
Instead of just what's
Like
right.
make a physical. I think that's what we're going to lose is like this physicality.
Well, and I think one of the questions that I think is important is not only with the phones that we have now, but once this technology is more advanced, because in our minds we're like, why would we pay attention to the people around us if we have basically all the kinds of entertainment, funny jokes, everything right in front of us?
Yeah.
So what becomes the value of all the people around us? And I think like in WALL-E, they lose that because like, well, I'd much rather have all the information that's ever been thought of in front of me instead of interacting with the boring people around me.
Or it's like you curate your life instead of letting life happen to you.
Yeah.
And so I think that even with like friendships and relationships, that's what I'm saying. It's like, why not just have lunch with my best friends every day than just like going out or maybe going with coworkers or something like that, because it might be a little bit more awkward or, you know, things like that.
So, you got something?
Well, yeah, I looked up. So it's a Bruce Willis movie, 2009, Surrogates. So in that movie, people had their avatar, but it was like a robot, and so they're like in their room, and you could make whatever avatar you wanted. So I mean, it's kind of like if I wanted to be this beautiful woman and go, like I could go out and do that.
That's your dream.
Yeah, or be like a fit, good-looking guy or whatever. Like you could make your avatar, and then that person would be out representing you, but you were watching through their eyes, and you were talking and interacting, but you yourself didn't actually have to interact. Like it was just
you were at home.
Yeah, you're at home, whatever. And so, but people were mad because like the real people didn't want to have surrogates out running around.
Well, I think so. There is one thing, and I think this will be a little bit down the lines, but we're seeing kind of traces of it already. Is you can go online and you have all these AI chatbots.
Yeah.
And one of the things that you can do is, I think it's even becoming a thing where you have like these AI girlfriends. So then, because these AI chatbots are really good they've passed the test of you can't tell if you're talking to a real person or to an AI. So if they pair that with video, and so then could you be in the world, but instead of interacting with your real friends, interacting with all of your AI friends where it feels like you're having a real conversation.
Oh, man.
But then it's so much lower pressure because you're like, well, if they get offended, they're robots, so it doesn't really matter.
I'm gonna write a futuristic movie called Curated.
Oh,
And it's
what would it be about?
that where you just like curate your whole life to be perfect
Oh.
and see what the implications are.
Oh man. So okay, so we talk about how everything pushes a worldview. What are these goggles?
But why might it ruin your life? Like, why
Yeah.
did we lead with that?
I think because taken, maybe not in its current form, but if we get to the point where we do value the entertainment and all the information more than the relationships around us.
Yeah.
Just like in WALL-E, you do that and you have too much of a good thing, and then you realize, oh, this isn't the most important thing in life, and then you lose all those relationships.
Yep.
But do you need them if you have access to everything in front of you?
I think so, but maybe people don't think so.
Are they real? Are they less real because they are virtual?
Yeah, I mean, the obvious answer is yes. Like, I mean, we need interaction. I mean, Adam and like the very first.
No, I'm not talking about the AI friends. I'm talking about like if you have real friends.
No, I am too. Like, because when God created humanity, like He created Adam, and there was no suitable helper found, so He made Eve to be a companion for him. Like, we need interaction. We need people in our lives, and so yeah, virtual people, like that's not gonna work out in the end, because we'll still be lonely and say. I mean, that's the thing. Like, social media is bigger than ever, but people are lonelier than
Isolated us more than ever.
Yeah, and so
Yeah, because the interesting thing with that is Steve Jobs, the creator of the iPhone, interestingly enough, did not give his kids iPhones.
no.
So, and I think that's a pretty common thing with people that make these technologies. They are very aware of what it can do. And then a lot of times they either
Biggest flaws.
don't use it themselves, or they're like, I definitely don't want my kids to have this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think with this, that's what I mean. It's heading to a place where, yeah, we are more connected than ever, and so it's just like you've got this thing. Because I watched a girl that did unboxing that she's like, she bought it on her own. She's like, I'm not sponsored by anybody. She's like, I've been waiting for this. She said for 2 years, and so she's like, I finally got it, and she put it on at first. She's like, this is not good. And she like felt sick. She's like, this is, ugh. And then she's like, oh wait, it was too tight. And then she's like messing around with it, and she's like, she actually was like tearing up. She's like, this is the most like incredible incredible thing I've like experienced. He's like
Yeah.
just moving things around with your fingers, like you pinch to move things, and it's just. Oh, was it a Minority Report? Tom Cruise, where he's like moving stuff, like it almost feels like this.
It does, yeah.
This new thing, and I know we've had VR headsets and stuff like that, but this just feels like a different level. And so I think you just need to be careful. Like, okay, don't let this ruin your life.
Yeah.
Like, because you could probably spend hours in it. And with movies, you can make it as big as you
Oh
want.
yeah. So it's like you're in the movie theater every time you watch something.
That's crazy.
Oh.
I don't understand that.
One of the things I saw, like if you want to practice a speech, you can just like have the Apple Auditorium, whatever they have, and I think you can fill it with people. The one I saw just was an empty room, but you can practice your speeches, all that stuff. So but so if you want to send us one, Apple,
Send us one and we'll review it.
We'll mess around with it.
Oh yeah, please.